It is Mrs. Johnson once again with the Agro Wisdom channel. I told you that I would make a video on dimensional analysis. This is said video because dimensional analysis is another one of those like super important things in agriculture that you should know about in terms of math stuff, uh, sciencey stuff, but we don't really talk about it. And it's one of those things that gets taught in like traditional science classes and not really in ag classrooms. So we're going to talk about it today. Dimensional analysis, if you refer to these fun little sticky notes that I drew up on a whim, um, just before I recorded this video. Dimensional analysis is a math problem solving method used to convert from one measuring unit to another without actually changing the true value or the actual value of that number. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you understand some of the common agriculture conversions or life conversions that we do. Um, so, like 1 acre, I'll run through this list of common ag conversions. 1 acre is 400 or 43,560 feet squared. 27 feet cubed is 1 yard cubed. 12 inches equals a foot. And you'll see that 12 inches and 1 foot are like the same size. Right? If I draw a picture over here, one of those is 12 inches, the other one is 12, or one of them's 12 inches, the other one's a foot. They're the same measurement. I could draw one line and go, someone might go, that's 12 inches. And someone else might go, that's a foot. Um, same thing, um, same thing. Not different by any means. And that's what it means by converting from one measuring unit to another without actually changing the value. That line is always a foot and also always 12 inches, unless you actually add or take away stuff from that line. Now, 4 inches is a hand in horse height measurement. Bushel of corn is 56 pounds. Bushels change based on the crop that you're weighing. 1 acre foot of water is 325,851 gallons of water on the ground. An acre foot is one of those odd measurements where it's how much water fills up an entire acre with a depth of 1 foot of water. So 1 foot of water by the 443,560 square feet. So 43,560 cubic feet of water over an acre is 325,851 gallons. And I can do that dimensional analysis in my head because I've been doing dimensional analysis for the decade-ish now, and I'm kind of good at some of these ag measurements. You can also do measurements for like weight. So 1 ton is 2,000 pounds here in the US. You can convert from metric over to standard, or imperial measurements. But today we're going to do some examples, and then when we're done, I want you to go try it on your own, see what all you can come up with. If I need to do a step by step, I will do a step by step. But for now, we'll go through some examples. This top one right here. Boop, boop, boop. We'll do this one first, and I will zoom in like a smart person. If we want to go from feet to acres, feet to acres squared, because acres are always squared. They're always in square feet or square footage, square area. That width times length measurement that I talked about in my gardening basics and my livestock basics area math video. This ties quite well into that because you go from that feet and measurement over to acres, which is important when you're scaling up operations. So 5,000 feet is our hypothetical width times 3,612 feet, right? That's our length times width of our field. Let's say we went out and we measured it, and I'm going to do some math right now on my calculator because I did not do any of this math beforehand. So 5,000 times 3,612 is a massive number that I didn't think I was going to get. Because I did not think this through. So is 18 0 6 0 0 0 0, right? That is copy. Oh, I can't copy. I don't know how to do that on here. Anyway, right? 18,060,000 feet squared. That is a massive number that we can't quite conceptualize. So if we take that number and we plug it in here, 18, 0, 6, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? And so, right, we have measurements, feet squared. It's in feet squared because we multiplied this foot by this foot, and now there's 2 feet, which makes feet to the second power. And so the way we set up dimensional analysis is we put this big number on top, 18,060,000 feet squared over one field, because we're just hypothetically measuring one field. And we multiply that by our conversion factor, which are the things that we use to move back and forth between this number and that number without changing the measurement, without changing that line from the line that it is. And if we look at our little conversion factor, if we're in feet squared, 43,560 feet squared equals 1 acre. And so we always set it up to where feet, right? We always set it up in that fraction format. So then, right? And I've already written in the dimensional analysis. We set it up like that so then we can cross out feet because it's fractions. I should talk about how fractions work in my math basics video. We'll talk about fractions because fractions are hard. Specifically, multiplying fractions, because that would make this life so much easier. So, dimensional analysis, right? We multiply, we put the same units on the opposite top or bottom compared to what it is where we are. We are here in feet. We want to go over to acres. So that means we take it one step at a time and we take that 18 million feet of a field, we multiply it, which means because these are fractions, we would take that 18 million and we would divide it by that acre footage. So 4, 3, 5, 6, which is equal to 114.6 acres in a field. Now we know, because we did the math, right? I'll talk about how to do fraction math. But because we crossed out our units, we now know what units we have left. We have field and we have acre. And so we could write that with a dash here, acres per field, because you could write it as that fraction. But acres in field is all we need to know. And then let's do a height one, right? So let's talk about me. How tall I am. I am 5 foot. I am a small human. Me, I'm 5 foot. Now we talked about hands. How tall am I in horse measurements? I was a horse nerd growing up, so I've probably done this plenty of times. But right, so what do we start with? We put the units that we're in, height in feet, and we go towards height in hands. Now this one is a little more complicated because we don't have the unit conversions that go directly from feet to hands. So we're going to have to do 2 steps, right? We know that because our handy dandy little chart over here only has inches to feet and then inches to hands. So, right, if we know that I'm 5 foot, we put that on the top and we know we're talking about me. So me goes on the bottom. And then our next step, we have to put feet on the bottom because we have to divide by feet to get rid of feet, right? We can't say that's 2 feet. That's got to be a foot and an inch up there. So 5 feet divided by 12 inches over 1 foot. In this case, because they are not diagonal of each other, we'll multiply straight across on these numbers. So 5 times 12 is 60. No. 5 times 12 is 60 inches. Me. That's where we've gotten so far. Up to there, right? And then, but we're in inches, and we want to go to hands. How do we get to hands? 4 inches is 1 hand. So we take that 60 inches, right? And we put inches on the bottom like we did here. And we put it over 1 hand. So that means that this inch goes away, that inch goes away, right? And if we're going to do this the long way, that would go away, this would go away in our second step. This is just a rewriting of what's up here. So then we would do 60 divided by 4, which is 15, right? 15 hands. I am tall. I am 15 hands tall. And so you have a couple of options here when you write this out. You can either rewrite it and drop this whole section down to this, where I rewrote it, or you can multiply straight across. I often recommend rewriting it. I just didn't have the space to rewrite it. So let's talk about tons and bushels, going from tons to bushels of things, because that's also a two-step conversion. This time I will rewrite things. So because I have space down here, it will be a little less haphazard, has that last version. So tons to bushels. What do we know? Let's say hypothetically we have 0.3 tons of a corn harvest and we want to go to bushels. So what do we know? We know bushels of corn to feet or to pounds, and we also know tons to pounds. We don't know the conversion from tons to bushels, so we're just going to use what we've got, which is tons to pounds and then pounds to bushels, which makes two steps because we're making 2 unit measurement changes. From tons into pounds is 1, and then from pounds into bushels is another, which means 3 pieces, 2 multiplications, because 2 unit conversions. So 0.3 tons of a corn harvest. We put the tons here on the top with the tons on the bottom. They divide out. So then we have 0.3 corn harvest times 2000 LPS, right? Because anything in a fraction over 1 is just that number. So 0.3 times 2000 is 600 pounds, right? So we have 600 pounds of a corn harvest of corn, right? And so we've done this step. We've done that step. And now we need to do that step because we're going to go from tons over to bushels. So we can rewrite it and go 600 pounds of corn times 1 bushel of corn is equal to 56 LBS, right? So divide anything by itself is 0. Pounds divided by pounds is 0, so it's null. And then 600 or anything multiplied by 1 over a number is essentially, we can rewrite this as 600 divided by 56 because of the way the math works. So we have 600 divided by 56. No, I typed it in to my calculator run. 56 equals 10.71. 10.71 what? What do we have left? We have corn, we have bushels. Anything on the top goes first, so bushels of corn. We can write that up here, 10.71. Now, once you start getting good at this, right, you saw that I rewrote this bottom one in 1, 2, 3 steps. Once you start getting good at it, you can start doing it all in one problem. So 0.3 tons divide by, right? And then you can start, once you start getting good at the rewriting, you can start going a little faster and then just start writing out really long conversions and going 0.3 tons of a corn harvest times 2,000 pounds in a ton times 1 bushel, which is 56 pounds, and start just doing the whole problem in your calculator using PEMDAS like good children and good noodles and not messing up math problems, because I know I've done that, and that's why I will tell you to rewrite everything and do it one step at a time, especially if you're rushed or getting the wrong answers, or if the numbers are super, super important. Take it slow, write each step out, do it one step at a time. I hope that helps. Let's see, once again, dimensional analysis, math problem solving method used to convert from one measuring unit to another without changing the actual value. Has, per examples, 43,560 feet squared is 1 acre. 12 inches is the same thing as a foot. 4 inches is the same thing as a hand when measuring horses. 1 bushel of corn is equal to 56 pounds. 1 acre foot of water is 325,851 gallons. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. Those are same. Two sides of the same coin. It doesn't matter how you measure it. You still have the same amount of whatever you're measuring. You still have the same amount of water. You still have the same amount of corn, same amount of height, same amount of cubic yards, cubic feet, cubic area, square area. You have the same amount because they are two ways to say the same thing. And so you're not actually changing how much you have, you're changing the way that you're talking about it. If you have comments, questions, anything like that, drop them in the comments. If you'd like me to go through a couple more examples, or if you'd like to see certain conversion factors used, we'll talk about it. I will hopefully do an irrigation video and a fraction video. So we will, and a feed rations video, which these things come in handy when you know how to do dimensional analysis for those things. So yes, I will see you soon. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And without further ado, time for the awkward Zoom pause, and we will see you later.